Eve, I was just thinking about this university. Got a really good medical program.
For who?
For Edward. One for the morning, one for the night, one for the morning, afternoon and night.
Why don't we just give him Calpol? I finished early. Where's Edward?
He's upstairs with my parents.
Where's Edward?
We went to the cafe with my parents.
Where's Edward?
I went to the Mekong Delta to see my grandparents. Oh, is he asleep?
No, not yet.
How did you leave?
What? He needs to learn to fall asleep on his own. Oh, how I wish those clips were an exaggeration. So if you are an OG subscriber, then you probably will know that when I first started this channel, me and Edward, my son, lived in the UK, and my partner Eric still lived in California, where he was completing his degree. And then about a year and a half ago, when Edward was 20 months old, me, Eric and Edward decided to move here to Vietnam. Oh, how that was a culture shock, especially when it came to parenting, as I had raised Edward on my own with the Western values, and then to come here, yeah, it was so difficult. And there are still parts now that I do tend to have conflicts with. Okay, so let's break them down. Edward's education. So the Western and Asian stereotypes when it comes to education for me are definitely so true. For my upbringing, at least, my parents just encouraged me to do whatever I enjoyed. And university was never mentioned to me or my brother, and we both ended up going anyway. But yeah, it was never talked about by our parents. But with Eric, his parents knew that he was going to study abroad when he was 16 and go to university and do engineering. And that was probably planned out before Eric even started school. I think this has probably rubbed off on me now, because I do really want Edward to go to university, but he can do whatever he wants, whatever he enjoys. I don't want him going to university and doing a degree that he doesn't like. But I do sometimes hear my mother-in-law whispering Baxi and Kisu to Edward when he's playing, so we will see what he chooses in 15 years time. So, medication. The one thing that caused so many arguments when we first got here last year, and even now I do get annoyed that there are so many different types of medication for children, but in the UK it's kind of like, just give them some Calpol and a cuddle and they'll be fine. As a parent, we like to think that we know best for our child, but even now I still get told by certain people what is wrong with my child and what medication he needs to take. But now we seem to have found a good doctor that if Edward ever is ill, we just take him to them and they don't just prescribe him antibiotics when he has a cough. But I think the reason for the conflicts of medication between the two cultures is that in the West, well, in the UK, you have to go to the doctors, and it's not very easy just to get antibiotics. You need to be prescribed it from your doctor. And obviously the doctors are always busy, so if it's just something slightly wrong, then you don't tend to go to the doctor, you just kind of give them Calpol. But here it is so easy just to buy antibiotics or to go to the pharmacy and just literally buy any medication over the counter. So yeah, maybe that's the reason of the different views on medication. Okay, so the in-laws. It took me a long time to get used to Eric's parents looking after Edward. I feel like in the West, when you have a child, it is fully the parents' responsibility to take care of it. And then when you ask somebody to look after your child just for a couple of hours or an evening so that you can have some free time, there's this huge sense of guilt and so much judgment from other parents. But yeah, even now, a year and a half later, I still feel like that, and yeah, I do appreciate the help though. But I think that this difference in culture is to do with the living situation here. It's normal for households to have at least 3 generations in them. So when you have children, it's still okay to live, well, it's more than okay, it's normal to live with usually the woman lives with the man's parents, and yeah, that's what we are doing here. But yeah, in the West, it's really looked down upon if you still live with your parents, even after finishing university, never mind being married and having children. But yeah, when you all live together, the responsibility kind of levels out between everyone that lives in the household. Edward's bedtime routine. I felt that when we lived in the UK, I deserved a gold medal for getting Edward's bedtime routine down to a T. Every night at 7 o'clock, exactly, he would have his bottle and then go to sleep on his own. He didn't need me laying down there next to him for him to fall asleep. How that was thrown out of the window as soon as we moved here. So here it's really normal for children to go to sleep when their parents go to sleep late at night. And that is usually because the children still share the same room as their parents. When I tell people here that Edward actually has his own room and that he does go to bed at about 7:30, 8 o'clock, people are so surprised. Another thing is that children and adults have dedicated naps during the daytime here, whether you're at nursery, school, or work. But honestly, Edward has been fighting off naps since before he was 2, so that's definitely the Westerner in him. I know, because I live here, I need to respect the culture, but I think when it comes to parenting, it is extremely difficult because as a parent you think that you know what's best for your child. But yeah, did you relate to any of these? What other differences can you think of? I could list a ton more, but I didn't want to push the boundaries too much. If you like this video, maybe I could do a part 2. Let me know down in the comments or by giving this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I upload videos every Saturday, so I do hope to see you next week. Thank you for watching and goodbye.